Nancy Guthrie, a missing parent, a child who is upset, children who are upset. They happen to be famous, Savannah Guthrie. But so what? Let's go find Nancy Guthrie and whoever took her. Well, you're not at the top of my defense list, let me tell you.
And we've talked about that case. We've got Sheryl McCollum on to do just that. We also have what I think is a collection of the biggest waste of time in a courtroom on one single day that I can remember in quite some time.
Justice, where are you? Michael and Linda are here.
Love you, Linda.
The world is justice. Will we ever find justice?
The courthouse the other day in the hallway, you're singing
Will
"Oh
we
Happy
know
Day."
justice when we see it? To be and down, may I lead the way. Hoping justice will win the day. Listener clues, finding justice where we can. Join us now, we're on the run. Justice is waiting, we'll see it done.
And hello, partner. How are you? Good to see you.
Well, I'm pretty upset about this. I think that anytime a mother is kidnapped and high profile, whether it's to make a statement and all, and somebody who is older, who's living alone, it just puts all of our lives in question, right? Because it's this violence that in the middle of the night in your own house that really just scares everyone.
Yep, and the unknown makes it even worse. And we are going to get into that. A couple of tidbits.
Justice.
Sorry, enough of that one. Let's try this one instead. Okay, a bunch of cases here, some of them related to Karen Reed / Aiden Carney, others across the country, all of them, in my opinion, a lot of wasted breath and taxpayer dollars. Care to start with the one you've got?
Yeah, I'm going to start with what I got because, yesterday I went to the Westminster Kennel Show and tonight is the final and all. But then I came back and I didn't upload this, but I don't know if you can read this. It is court issues mixed ruling in case over copycat Longchamp dog poop bags. Okay. I mean, this is what our courts are doing. That's important. That dog waste bag holders, you and I have 2B and Domino, that allegedly mimic Longchamp's Le Pliage bag do not infringe on the company's registered design for hot selling bag. I mean, who cares? Who cares? Really? That's gonna make
I didn't even know about that, but it fits in with my theme of wasted time and effort and resources. But you have one a little more topical than that. You want to do that one? You want me to get into the ones I've got?
You get into the ones you have.
Okay, first of all, let's start with Karen Reed, the civil case, the wrongful death case. New attorney has been added to the mix, and they had a hearing today just to check status, right? Just to check status on civil discovery. One case, not the other case. It's very easy to get them all jumbled together. But the one that they met on today was the Plymouth case, in which there are already many, many attorneys involved. But they were talking really just about where are we with discovery? Where the heck are we, right? And they're nowhere. They're nowhere. The judge is saying, hey, it's been 9 months. Why don't we have anything going on here? And the defense attorneys, those are the attorneys for Karen Reed, again, it's the civil wrongful death case. They said, they've subpoenaed, you'll never guess who's not cooperating. They've subpoenaed records from Canton PD, from the Massachusetts State Police, from all these government entities, and they're just stonewalling them. They're doing nothing.
Welcome to civil litigation.
And so, yeah, really, but especially when you involve third-party government entities, right? Especially these particular government entities. So the judge was like, well, it's been too long. Don't be afraid to bring motions, to compel, which is where they are now. But I'm not waiting 9 months. I don't care what somebody else says on the phone, because you're going to do, they call it, I think, a Rule 9. It's a meet and confer obligation. Yeah, you're going to do that, but you're not going to bend over backwards and keep saying, okay, months and months and months down the road. You give them a deadline, you pursue it, and let the court sort it out. Let the court be the bad guy. Why do you want to be so nice to give them more and more and more time? But that's what's happened. So they had this meeting that took about 20-some minutes, and the court learned that nothing has happened. And so they set another meeting for next Thursday. It's just total waste of resources. And you see, it looks like, an exaggerated Brady Bunch graphic. You know, they're like 9 or 12 attorneys. I can't remember how many are on there. Billing away. There they are, billing away, sitting there to tell this
all
judge that
about, right?
absolutely nothing is happening.
That's what it's all about. Okay, my response to it is long shot poop bags.
Well, there was definitely some poop going on, I'll tell you that. Okay, and now the other Karen Reed case that has the new attorney, okay, that is in the, let's see, let me grab my document. Let me grab my document here. This is in the federal case, of course, which is the civil rights case. This is a new attorney being brought on by the House defendants. It's Kieran T. Murphy. Mr. Murphy. How they hooked up with him, don't know, but he's the new guy, and he's representing Bryant Albert, Nicole Albert, Jennifer McCabe, Matthew McCabe, Brian Higgins. I don't know if it's the Irish Mafia. I don't know. But this is the guy, and I was looking at his some of his training experience, mostly in real estate and finance.
That would be like having him investigate what we're going to talk about soon, which is the Nancy Guthrie possible abduction. Okay.
Yeah, it just, I mean, I'm sure he's a wonderful guy, but they brought him in not too long ago to the firm. He's with, what is the name of this firm again? I forgot. Hinckley Allen. They brought him in October of last year. Not been there long. Doesn't seem like he's got the chops for this case. But maybe I don't see any civil rights thing.
Look, at this point, it's all about motions and billing. At this point, it has nothing to do with anything else. And
I mean, look, all
these, he may be captive counsel. Who knows?
All these accolades here, it's all finance cases. So, anyway, God bless him. Good luck, buddy. You're stepping into a basket full of rattlesnakes. So, hopefully you won't be taking
my favorite
down.
animal.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see what else I had. I think I had another one. A subpoena's ignored. Tyler Robinson, another major waste in Utah. That, of course, the case against the alleged shooter of Charlie Kirk. They're having hearings, evidentiary hearings that are taking days to determine whether or not an adult child of one of the prosecutors who was at the event that day when Charlie Kirk was shot and killed somehow taints the entire Utah prosecution team. I mean, it is ridiculous. But the judge, and I'm less and less happy with the judge. He's taking days and days, evidentiary hearing to take care of that waste. Oh, speaking of wasted time, Baden Carney ruling. Not really a ruling. How about that? This is from Friday's hearing last, where we were up there. This was the motion to recuse Mr. Cosgrove, special prosecutor. And so we knew the court wasn't going to rule from the bench. That never happens. So he puts out sort of a ruling.
Yeah, do you have it? I think you have it, right?
I do have it, and
he puts that sort of a ruling. He gives Cosgrove until March 6th to tell him if he's going to have a special prosecutor in case Lindsay Gaetani, who is suing him, testifies. He's going to appoint one, but you don't have to name that person until November.
Well,
okay.
Let me blow this baby up for you here.
I mean,
this is exactly what I expected. Hold on here. Here we go. When I was listening to this unfold, and we talked about it both from the scene and since, this judge was looking for some way to split the baby, right? And he kept saying, well, what if somebody else comes in and does any cross-examination or examination of Lindsay Gaetani? Doesn't that solve the problem? No, it doesn't solve the problem. But I could see that's where he wanted to go. So rather
but he's not sure if Cosgrove wants to go there. So now this is putting a limit on Cosgrove. Hey, you got to tell me. Yes or no?
He's telling him what to do. He's telling him do this. Cosgrove will do whatever the hell he's told to do. He has no free will. So after the hearing referenced here, they say that I'm going to defer on the actual decision. That's paragraph 1. Going to defer. So here's your dates. No later than March 6th. You got to tell the court, Mr. Special Prosecutor, if you intend to have this assistant special prosecutor available. Okay, that's the first thing. You got to tell the court. And in the event that you do have that special prosecutor, assistant, available at the time for cross-examining, then you have to file your notice of appearance by the 23rd of November.
Right. So basically, it's very interesting because to me, Blasos recognizes there is a conflict. There's no doubt in my mind. And he's giving Cosgrove, hey, you recognize the conflict? I'm telling you, you need a special prosecutor. I'm telling you. And of course, I know it's going to take forever to get one, because I may have to appoint one if I do. So I think this was a very good ruling, actually, for Aidan Carney. I really do.
think it's continuation of waste of time because we never should even be there. Anybody
No,
with
I
any
agree.
common
I agree.
sense.
We'll just dismiss it.
It's a weird combination on the bench. Common sense and balls. So nothing has prevailed in this case to show that this judge has either. But this is his attempt to split the baby. Let's put a special prosecuting assistant in there. That clears things up. It does not. Total waste of time.
It doesn't, but I do think this is actually a good ruling for Aiden in the sense that it puts Cosgrove
Well,
on
it's
the
better
spot.
than just
And
saying
nothing has put Cosgrove on
nothing.
the spot. Right. Nothing has put
Yeah,
Cosgrove on the spot.
you're right about that. It's better than just saying motion denied.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyhow, I see there's people in our chat. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. I represent Aiden Carney. Okay. If you want to come here and because you want to badmouth Aiden Carney, we know you have a First Amendment right. But let me tell you, you're not going to spread false misinformation here on this channel. Simple as that. All right. So take your false misinformation and go elsewhere. If you're going to spread that, we'll put you in a timeout. All right.
Luckily I don't read most of that stuff as we're ranting away. The lawyer, you might know. See what happened there? See what they did there?
Yeah.
A member for 2 months. Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
All right.
Maybe we do know you.
Yeah. So Dizzy took care of it. All right. As I
thanks
said,
to
you have a
Sheila
First
and to
Amendment.
Dizzy.
You have a First Amendment right if you want to discuss it with us, fine. But not if you want to come here to be a troll. Ain't happening. Okay, ain't happening. All right.
Yeah, please take. As I like to say, I think your skill set should be employed elsewhere, somewhere that matches better. Anyway, thanks to Sheila and to Dizzy. We know that sometimes sorting through that stuff can be a challenge, and we appreciate it. Okay, so Nancy Guthrie.
Let's get to the real important stuff and the real important guest we have who's been waiting here, who's just a major investigator. She can tell us what we're going to do, what they should be doing. I know you've been tweeting about it, Sheryl McCollum. You want to bring her on? Can you do that, Michael?
I can do that.
Hey.
I know you've been listening to the beginning while people come here.
Are you parked? Wait a minute. Let's make sure. Are you safe? Are you parked?
I am perfectly safe. I am
Okay.
parked. I got a lot of people curious why I'm sitting here, but y'all, there was all kind of traffic. I just had to pull over and get ready for y'all. I couldn't.
Yeah, because we want to get your. The first thing I thought about was you this morning, and you were already posting about this case. I mean, first of all, if this is an abduction, who abducts someone who is 84, almost 85 years old, out of the house in the middle of the night? What kind of person is that? Is this related to Savannah? Is it because she's high profile? I mean, just let her roll.
Okay. Well, I think one of the most important aspects is the limited mobility. So even if they're strangers and they get in this house, the family has said she can't walk 50 yards. So they're going to have to help her get from inside the house to the vehicle. So that is something to me that were they prepared for that? Did they know that beforehand? Because most people don't add some type of wall or hurdle when they're doing a job like this. It's an A to B thing. You got to get in and get out and get to the secondary location if this is a kidnapping that is going to have a financial base to it. So, for example, there's things that we do know. The blood is very concerning to me. There's blood on inside the house that they've already told us leads to the driveway.
Oh, I missed that. I missed that. It leads to the driveway.
Let me ask you this, Sheryl, because the cops, the sheriff Nanos, I think he is, who seems overwhelmed, in my opinion. He almost backtracked on that. I'm not going to confirm any of that.
Yeah.
But the cat's out of the bag, dude. I had a thought about the blood, which now, by some reports, says there was some found inside and then drops out toward the driveway. Just playing devil's advocate, couldn't somebody get, a injury, bloody nose, whatever, and those drops be going into the house?
They could, but normally you would have some way of saying, okay, there was a car there. There's no car there. So it would say to me that person got in a vehicle and left while bleeding, not the opposite.
Okay. I'm just throwing that out there. Just,
No, I'm with you. I'm
covering all the possibilities. I want to show house.
They did Michael's bringing it up. They sent it to the lab to do DNA. How quickly could a DNA come up, whether it is Mrs. Guthrie's or whether it's somebody else?
They can
quick is
do
that, yeah.
rapid DNA, and they would have already known it, but they
Yeah,
said
and they've
this
said
one
that
was
it's
down.
hers. Yeah, they
So-
said that it's hers, and they
Yeah.
can't get anybody else's out of it, which is
Yeah.
unfortunate for investigative purposes. It's
But
you know,
that
not a
makes
surprise
sense.
that it's hers.
That's who you would believe would be bleeding. They went
Right.
in. That's how they're controlling her. They either hit her in the face or hit her, in the head. So that's what the droplets, that makes sense to me. That's what I would think would happen. But the other thing that's concerning y'all is the medication. The family has said there's medication that she takes every day. And if she doesn't take it, she could die. Well, we're going into day 3.
Yeah, and they said 24 hours, so it's a daily medicine. You start to think in your own life and in those of
Sure.
your loved ones, okay, what meds do people take that have that kind of immediate, really serious impact, right? I mean, if she had extremely high blood pressure, maybe,
Yep.
but that's maybe.
They
There's no
said
indication.
She's got a pace, right? She has a pacemaker,
Yep.
which means she has an
And that
underlying heart
glitch-
condition.
At 2
Mhm.
a.m., that glitched, whatever that
And
means.
that's another thing. When that Apple Watch has stopped, so now you've got somebody bleeding who needs daily medication, and their Apple Watch has stopped at 2 a.m. Well, that narrows that timeline. We're no longer at 1 a.m. We're at 2 when the activity stops. So that kind of thing, when you're adding that, the sheriff, and I agree with you, he is overwhelmed. There's no doubt about it. He keeps saying, we need your help. We need the public's help. We need the community. But then he doesn't tell us what to do.
No.
Buddy, give us a car.
No
give us
clue
an
about what she's
outline of a
wearing,
person.
even.
That's
Couldn't
what I'm
you-
saying. Tell us something. What does she look like? We just see these beautiful pictures of her. But
Mhm.
what is her nightgown? What does she wear? Is it a nightgown or pajamas? Does she have any kind of footwear? Would she have to have her cane, or do you think they drug her? There's things.
Cheryl, can I stop you on the cane? Was that left behind?
See, that's something they haven't told us. We know her cell phone and her purse and her car were left behind,
Right.
along with her medication. But here's the deal. At 84, how many phone numbers does she know? So if somebody has grabbed her to ransom her, who's she going to call?
Hmm.
She doesn't
Yeah.
have
Yeah,
a phone.
I don't know what my phone numbers are with my phone anymore, because we used to, in the old days,
That's right.
memorize phone numbers.
Yeah,
Now
That's
you
don't
right.
just
need,
go
don't
and-
need it anymore.
Yeah, and
You
sometimes
need that
someone will say, what's your phone number? Oh, my phone number. Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
Hey, Sheryl, let me ask you this from an evidence gathering standpoint. This is the driveway leading to the house. It's obviously dirt.
Right.
And this is a recent photo. I mean, I could even see what looks like faint tire tracks on the right third of the driveway.
Correct.
There should be something we can get from that, whether the type of vehicle,
Yeah. Well,
something.
I got real excited when I saw this because I thought the same thing. Number one, there's going to be tire tracks. Number two, there could be drag marks. If they're helping her get to the car and she's trying to fight them in some way, there should be some kind of shuffle. We should know, are there 3 sets of footprints? Are there 4? Are there 2? The sheriff has already come out and said, no tire tracks, nothing we can use. I don't know how that's possible.
I don't either, unless they parked on the pavement out at the road.
But then
wouldn't there
should
still be
evidence
footprints?
of her? Because again, if you can't walk 50 yards, you now have made this even more difficult to get her to the vehicle. I don't know if she's dragging her feet, if she's kind of shuffling. I don't know if they're helping her. I don't know if they're carrying her. I have no idea. But for me, that driveway should be.
The other thing I want to look at with some more photos here. First, this one. This is not like a tract home neighborhood where you've got houses, 10 feet apart, 10 feet. It's brush. It's a little bit desolate, I'll call it. I got one more picture I'll put up here, Linda. I'm sorry to interrupt, and I'll get back.
No problem.
Get
No
you
problem.
back
But
on
it,
track
but
here.
it is a community. It is
a community, but you'll see
community.
that it's not, like I said, it's not like tract homes. And every home is surrounded by brush. I mean,
Right.
that's her house. And so the next door neighbor ain't 50 yards away. So what does that tell you? What does that help you? How does that hurt the investigation?
Well, it's going to maybe do a combination. It's going to hurt in that if she screamed, possibly nobody heard it. Maybe nobody saw anything. These folks, it looks like they like their privacy. They're going to kind of stay to themselves. It's going to hurt in that things outside are going to get damaged a whole lot quicker. Blood's going to dry. anything like that's going to, go away with wind and heat, erosion type thing. It's very arid. It's desert. That's all there is to it. However, you're talking about one road in and out. One. So
does
the
that
great
tell
thing
you,
is,
Cheryl? Can I just ask you? Does that tell you that this could be an inside job? Somebody who has
Sure.
knowledge of the area, knowledge of the home, knowledge that she lives alone, knowledge that there's no cameras inside the house.
correct. Because if you look at that roadway, you're passing how many houses to get to her? You're possibly, passing cars if somebody's a nurse or a surgeon and they're leaving in the middle of the night. You're taking risk anytime. But when you look at the aerial view of this home, one of the first things that I said was, why that house? They had to have known something to pick that house. There's nothing extravagant about it. It doesn't stand out any more than all the rest of them. So there's a reason they went there. And I think prior knowledge is something they have to look at. No question about it.
Yeah, I think most people would just common sense would say it was targeted. We may not know the reason yet,
Right.
but that randomness. I mean, unless it's a Charles Manson kind of thing, it makes no sense.
It makes no sense. And here's the thing: did somebody go to the wrong house? We've seen that happen. It doesn't look like that in this case because they did too much after. Like once you go in there and you realize, hey, this isn't Bob, you leave her. Maybe you hit her in the head, but you leave her. You certainly don't take her. And, with all of this going on with, again, the sheriff asking for people's help, nobody has a Ring camera that caught a car. Nobody has a Ring camera that caught somebody walking around or ringing on a doorbell that they didn't have no business going up to. I mean, I find it hard to believe we do not have video. And you're talking about somebody like Savannah Guthrie. That's what she does. If there was anything that we could use to get to the media, she would have it all over creation. Well, she doesn't. So that tells me they ain't got it.
And I saw something where there was a camera. Somebody had actually took a picture of it, as I recall. But they were saying that maybe she hadn't been there long enough, and I don't know when she moved into the home, that it wasn't activated. So they were pursuing it however they could without, an activated camera. I guess if it's Ring Central, maybe there are some backup systems. But they made it sound like, yes, the hardware may have been there, but unlikely it was recording anything.
But forget her house.
Oh, yeah.
Every house you have to pass to get to her house. Every intersection. In other words, you just work backwards. How did they get here? Well, there's only one road. So you go to the intersection that has all the traffic lights. You're telling me you can't find a flock camera? You can't find an ATM camera? Nothing that's going to show you somebody in that area at 1 a.m? I find that hard to believe.
Yeah. And I just think what we know and what they're telling us are very different things.
Yeah.
I hate to believe they know absolutely nothing, which is what the latest press conference sounded like.
He said, we have no idea where she is.
He even said, do you think it's one person or more? We don't know.
We don't know.
I mean, just nothing.
Nothing. And he kept saying, I haven't heard from them about that. I'm not sure about that. I haven't heard anything. I don't know that to be true. He would not verify anything. And part of what he's doing with this ransom note business, that's something I'm going to tell y'all right now. If they had a valid ransom, that house should have never been released. You got the FBI there. They're the best in the business. If you've got somebody being ransomed and kidnapped, why in the world would you give the actual location, the only place the kidnappers know? Why would you give that up? You wouldn't. And then why not just say, we don't have a verified ransom note. Nobody has asked for anything. But then you've got the Guthrie family. They're not offering a reward, but you've got a nonprofit that's offered a very small amount. Well, that doesn't help. That looks worse to me.
Yeah, $2,500 looks terrible to me. I was gonna call Michael Bryant and say, Michael,
just wait a minute.
I think I just spent more than that on the dog show. With the
That's
dog
what I'm
showcase,
saying.
I missed it. What organization was that?
It's called 88 something.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is it's not coming from law enforcement. It's not coming from the family. So that's one of those things everybody wants to post. Oh, they're offering a reward. No, they're not.
Mm.
Law enforcement has not offered a reward. They have not released any video. They have not any type of information about a vehicle or a person of interest. Nothing.
Why?
again-
Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they release anything? Is because they don't have it, or are they trying to?
I
keep it
believe they don't
concealed?
have it. There is no way Savannah Guthrie, if they had a car, thank Brian Koberger, they had that car driving around. Put it out. What people are able to do, the general public, if you give them a task, what shoe is this? Where can I buy this face cream? Honey, you'll have it in 5 seconds. Give them something to do. They have released nothing. We don't have a vehicle. Is it a truck? Is it an SUV? Is it a family member's car? Something.
Yeah.
Nothing. They're
And
giving
again-
Even where she went to dinner with the other sister, supposedly coming back.
Dropped off at 9:30.
9:45ish type of area. So she went to dinner. Where did they go? Did they get followed? Was there something else? What restaurant?
Right.
It seems to me that somebody. I mean, who works at the house? Who was the last service person to come in? I mean,
Yeah. She's got a
yeah,
swimming
all
pool.
this.
Who services that? Who does her yard? She is not that mobile. Does somebody check on her every
Yeah,
day?
she have a home health aide of some
Who?
sort. Do you think, and again, I'm just thinking of all possibilities, would the law enforcement be more tight-lipped about this if they were close to some development that was of significance and they just felt like, we're not going to say a thing now, it might screw
Yeah.
up what we're on the verge of?
That's a great question. And the answer to that is, why the hell have a press conference then?
Yeah, and he's
You wanna
learned, I
be
think, because he
tight-lipped.
said
There's
we're
a
going to
way
have
to do
another, we're going to have a next one in 2 days.
In 2 days.
2
When he
days.
said that, I almost fell out of my chair. You're telling people, okay, you've got the 48 hours. Y'all know how critical that is. Well, now we're going into 72.
Mhm.
And I can tell you with a missing person, 72 hours is more critical than the 48 in a homicide. I'm telling you. And you're going to skip over that day completely? And
Tell us
just tell
why that
people,
is. Tell us
we'll
why
see
that
you
is.
Thursday.
Tell us
Because
why that is.
within that time frame, you're less likely to find them alive. So if there is a chance she's alive, you got to move right now. Again, with her medication, that changes it. With her already bleeding, that changes it for me. But you're also doing what tomorrow? What are you doing? And if you're holding something close to the vest, which I pray they are, you're still giving the general public this sense that you're not doing anything. Like even when the lead, with the FBI was talking, that was just a written statement. He
It was
sounded
nothing.
brand new.
It was nothing. It was like he was just stating his appearance, and then
Yep.
it was like,
Hey, if anybody knows anything, let us know.
yeah, we could use your help. Hey, let me ask about the blood
Yeah.
again that
Mhm.
they have not confirmed. What
Mhm.
does it tell you, if anything, that there are drops versus
Mhm.
some larger display?
It's actually good news. I think it's one of those things, maybe they go in, maybe she had her cane and she was trying to fight back. And so they punched her in the face to control her, to let her know we're serious. They didn't want to kill her there, but hey, you're coming with us, And I think if it's droplets, what typically happens, people, go forward, they try to hold their nose or their head, whatever it is. But if it's drops, to me, that's really good news. It's not a pool of blood. It's not so much blood that they're concerned that maybe she died right there. So
And
again,
Cheryl, nobody has a pacemaker. She'd be on blood thinners too, I would assume, as a pacemaker, so she'd bleed easier, right?
Easier,
So
right.
it could be a smaller wound, but it bleeds easier.
And
if you
in
don't
your
blood
head and
thinner.
face, it's going to bleed more anyway. So
Right. And on the med front, if that is one of the only meds, that's not likely to be a life or death after 24 hours kind of med.
not
make-
that,
Not
but
that one.
even when, from what I understand, even when the family was talking to 911, that's the first thing they mentioned, that her medicine is here and she'll die without it. So,
Yeah.
Oh, my
and here's the
gosh.
other thing, and I want to make this point for anybody listening. It is so important that you've got that friendship social circle, because the people that first alerted people were from her church. They knew Nancy is not going to miss without letting people know I don't feel good, or I'm not going to be there, or I'm on vacation. So that's the first people that said, hey, this isn't like her. And when they couldn't reach her, that's when it stepped up a notch.
So that asks
be
me,
sure.
that brings me to this question.
Yeah.
How did she normally get to church? Did she drive herself? Did somebody pick her up? Because
Well,
the
we
church
know she has a
closed, right?
car
She has a
because
car,
they made
yeah.
a point of saying her car was left behind. So I would imagine from the front door she could make it to the car.
She was
and
still
park it.
driving and
Yep.
maybe had a walker or something that would assist her. Because that 50-yard distance, I mean, that came from the family. It seems
Right.
almost arbitrary. I mean, 50 yards is actually quite a distance. A lot of
It
people don't
is.
walk that far, 150 feet,
Right.
in their daily lives. They walk from the house to the car, and and maybe not much more. But we don't even know why that limit is in place. Is it
Yeah.
is it leg issues? Is it respiratory issues?
Right.
Now, Sheryl, the one of the questions I have, because I've had clients on pacemakers, is the pacemaker company able to track the pacemaker independent of like it being close to an Apple Watch?
Now that I don't know if they're able to do that, but I do know they have serial numbers. Horribly, if that's what's left, they can identify you from that. As well as breast implants. I mean, that's something we can do,
Yeah.
but I don't know if they can track it without being near her, or I don't know that answer. That's a great idea, but again, we're 3 days into it, and her cardiologist hasn't come forward with that information.
Yeah.
So
No, we don't have any of that. We don't have it. Somebody said the pacemaker stopped on Sunday. No, it didn't stop. It didn't
just-
register to the Apple that it was hooked up. And it's just like your phone. You get those notices. You've taken it away from somewhere. It can't be, what I have here.
And what that tells
not
me a little
good.
bit about the pacemaker. It helped me on this, Sheryl, that it is the kind that is at least new enough that it would attach to an app. I think of like Dexcom 7 for my son is type 1 diabetic, and so it's all connected. And if his phone is separated from that device, then it's going to set off a little alarm. And so her phone sits back at home. That means to me the pacemaker is not all that old. That's what I'm getting at. That it's probably a little more sophisticated, perhaps.
it sounds probably about right. Yep. And we also know, because the sheriff, the way he talks, he's like, her cell phone was on the charger. So you think, she's at the end of her evening. She's charging her phone. She's getting in the bed. But then there are these lights that are on and the door's unlocked. But then they said there was, damage where they could tell there was some type of forced entry. Well, which is it? Because that's just an odd way to say that. In other words, if I kick the door in and I grab Linda and I drag her out, of course the door's unlocked. I'm not going to lock it on the way out, but I still had to kick it to get in. That to me sounds more logical than the way he said it.
Go ahead and explain that again, because I just heard forced entry and I kind of checked that box.
Well, they made a point of saying the door was unlocked, and then people were saying, well, did she leave the door open? Could somebody just have walked in? What are the odds of that? That the one and only time you leave your door open is the night you're going to get kidnapped? I don't buy that. But I'm saying they should have said there was forced entry and leave it. Why say the door was unlocked like that?
Because when you leave, the door is going to be unlocked because you've already opened it.
And
I don't have a key to your house. I'm not going to lock it when I leave.
And if it is unlocked, then is it really forced entry? Aren't you just
that's what I'm saying,
turning the knob and going in?
And I am not trying to say that he is not doing a great investigative job, but there is a reason that sheriffs and chiefs of police do not need to be the voice of their department. I don't think he's very good in the media, and somebody else should be doing this.
That's what first thing I thought was, this guy needs a flack, and that's that's what we call him in the media, the person's communications director. They need a flack, because either he's not comfortable, although he was out there everywhere, or he just doesn't understand the importance of what he's doing. You need that buffer.
Right.
I hate to use that word, but you need that buffer, that wall between those doing the work and the mouthpiece.
But it's so simple. Like when people were asking him, do you think there's more than one person? Hey, it's an ongoing investigation. I'm not going to address that. Hey, when do you think you're going to get, the blood? I'm going to address that when the time is right. Well, what do you think about, tire tracks? There weren't any. He flat answered that. Yeah. But then when they asked him about the ransom note, I mean, I don't think I can. Well, I'm not gonna say whether or not that's happening. You are going to send people into a frenzy when you do that. In other words, if it's an open investigation, you're not going to talk about it, don't freaking talk about it. But then TMZ is going to come on there with a video and say, hey, we got a ransom note.
And another channel followed suit, so they got one too.
There are nut jobs out there, nut jobs that looking for a little attention, and there are outlets willing to give them that attention. And it doesn't help anybody or anything.
No.
And you know, but you don't know. You don't know. I want to bring Sheryl because she'll know. Remember this. This is you got to remove that, Michael. You remove your thing for me to get on. Okay, that's the house. I'm going to add this to the stage. You remember, not that you remember it, but we all, studied it. I'm writing a book on it. Charles Lindbergh. This was kidnapping inside a house where everyone was sleeping. Come in at midnight, grab the baby, go down a 2-story ladder, drive away. The baby falls out of the arms, breaks the skull, and is found months later, 2 miles down the road. But there was a ransom note in between because the kidnappers wanted to get money. All right. With regard to that, and a lot of people confessed. In these high-profile cases, they come out of the woodwork I don't know why, to confess to have phony ransom notes. It doesn't do anyone any good. They're nuts. But the point is that if she's kidnapped, which obviously it appears she is, all right, they want something from this. Do they want to give her a hostage video so Savannah Guthrie plays it on the Today Show about politics? Do they want money? I guess it depends on who kidnaps her, right?
Well, let's talk about Lindbergh. They left the note immediately.
Right.
Who waits 3 days?
Yeah, especially if their prize has health issues.
Right.
It's a diminishing value.
Diminishing value. You've got to feed her. You've got to make sure she stays alive. Well, if she's this difficult to move and she needs this medication, you should know within 3 days she's not well. We gotta go quick. But they've said nothing. These kidnappers with this ransom have waited for the FBI to be in place, the best in the world. They've waited for the sheriff's department to invite other teams to come in. There are people looking at her financials. They're looking, has her debit card been used? Has a credit card been used? Did anybody move her car last week?
Oh, Sheryl, we lost her. She's probably got to sign back on. And what worries me
has anybody been to the house? Has anybody called her phone? They are all, I'm just telling you, he has not done a good job of explaining all that they've done. He just keeps saying, we don't have any video. We're working with these companies and they're not giving it to us.
Talk to us
that
about,
has nothing to do with her neighbor.
Talk to us about the way in and the way out. I mean, we can all go on Google and look at it. The way there has to be cell towers, right? There has to be cell towers and phone lines and things, right?
Yes. So
how does that help?
Aerial view, her home sits with a street that goes all the way down. I mean, it looks like it goes for 20 miles in each direction. There is no street in the backyard. You just see other houses in desert and land. So this person could not have parked behind her house and walked through the yard. They would have had to pull up to get to her house. So to me, that's important. And again, if you look at an aerial view, why that house? They all have pools. They all have beautiful fronts. They all have manicured lawns. What would drive you there? What would be the mark? So in other words, if we're burglars, right, we're looking for an easy way in, easy way out. Well, you already talked about forced entry. Not that easy. And why are you going to do it at 1 or 2 in the morning? These are decisions that these kidnappers or this one single person made. What tells you what they believed? They believed we can get in and get out. And nobody's going to know it. Did they cut the camera? They hadn't said that. Did they remove the camera the week before and then went back? They haven't said that. But those are the kind of things that to me would let us help them decide where they need to go in this thing. And again, you've got people in the general public that can do some unbelievable sleuthing. And I say, let them. This isn't the first 8 hours, y'all. We're getting into a point where it's so critical that she's not going to survive it if they've kept her.
Or if she hasn't survived it And that's why the note is, if there is a notice late or there hasn't been a note, if those other notes are false. I mean,
Well,
that's
even the
also
note that
possible.
TMZ talked about, they said that the person said they wanted this amount of money
Mhm.
and this amount of Bitcoin. And let me ask y'all something. If you're a professional kidnapper, the more steps you take, the more you're going to get caught.
Oh yeah.
So now you want me to send cash this way and Bitcoin this way. That doesn't even sound logical to me.
Nope.
Like that
I think
sounds
it's
bogus.
just, and you know, and I think on its face, common sense tells you that. I mean, when they ask for a plane and a parachute too. I mean, it just
Exactly.
seems like a goofball that is trying to take advantage of the hysteria that's
Well,
out
how
there.
about this? Could it be targeted against Savannah Guthrie because of some kind of things she said on the air or something?
You
Could
have
that
to look at
possibly?
that.
Of
You
course,
have to
yes.
look at that. No question. Just like you have to look at the family. I mean, you don't have a choice. I mean, you've got to rule people out that
Yeah.
last saw her. You've got to rule people out that work for her. You got to rule the people out at church. You know, I mean, you've got to. That's just part of it. Sadly, that's the investigation.
Yeah, it's an investigation by exclusion. I brought
Absolutely.
this picture is a little wider picture, to your point, Cheryl, how you can
Mhm.
see how scattered the houses are, and
Right.
it'd be difficult to accidentally go to that house.
I
You
would
know?
agree.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's targeted. Now, Cheryl, there's one of our guests one of our members have a question. Spooky Moon, can anyone listen to the 911 call? Where is it? Have you heard the 911 call?
I have not heard it. I don't think they've released it that I know of. I just know they referred to it.
Well, that's a help. And then the next question, can they use her phone at different locations, or her watch, I guess, to see if it connects to her pacemaker? Can they ride around with the phone and
I
the
don't
watch?
know enough about a pacemaker. I have no idea, but that's a great idea. That's a
You
great
would think.
idea.
Let me. You're an Apple person, Linda. I don't know if you are, Cheryl,
Yeah.
but the Apple Watch can be independent of your phone. Like you don't have to be anywhere near it.
Yeah, if you have one that has a number, like mine has a special number, so it doesn't have to be near my phone.
But there are those that are
But
dummies for your phone.
those are just right, that you have to be within a certain
Okay,
limit.
and we don't know, of course,
Right.
Right.
which one.
But I
she
do
has.
know
Okay.
one picture, she's wearing it and it's got the larger screen.
Yeah,
So-
that's so it would like this one. This is the larger screen that has
so
an
it can-
independent phone
So it'd
number.
be like another device, basically. Okay,
Right.
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's
well,
a
that would
great
be
idea.
helpful.
Yep.
So, but then you have to drive around and see somehow you get a connection and all that kind of stuff. But it seems to me that Tucson's pretty big. I mean, this is a pretty big area, and they said it's not that far. With 2 miles from the border, did I hear that right, or is that
Yeah,
wrong?
she's real close.
Yeah.
And again, they had from 2 a.m. till noon the next day. They got a pretty good lead.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying I don't know why anybody would wait to ransom somebody. You had it made. You could have literally been in another country before anybody woke up.
Yeah,
Well,
I think that
and she may be.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true. And I think people, because it is so mysterious, and they want to know why. Ransom is like a default. Well, somebody must be kidnapping her to ransom her. She has a celebrity in the family. That
Mhm.
must be it. I mean, that's just the way people think. But we've
Right.
seen nothing that
Nothing.
suggests that's really what's happening.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that kind of, and I understand it from a daughter. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. But when Savannah found this out on the 2nd, she went ahead and said, I'm not going to do the Olympics on the 6th. Well, that told me she knew her mama wasn't going to show up in an hour. Okay.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she definitely took it very seriously. Knew nothing about why it was happening or how long it might last.
But they shared with her, I think, what they found in that house. Because again, if your mom is 84 and missing, did she get turned around? Even though she didn't have dementia before, is she dehydrated? I mean, I have an elderly neighbor. She was dehydrated and was confused. Could that have happened? Well, Savannah, to me, knew that wasn't the case when on the 2nd, she said no to the 6th.
That is interesting. And let's face it, at 84, you may be a day from having a problem or 2 hours from having a problem.
Or you could hit your head
Sure.
and walk outside looking for help. Like, you don't know. You just don't know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm saying that one action, and don't misunderstand, I would stop my entire world for my mama too. But I'm saying if I thought, well, she got turned around leaving the grocery store, maybe she hit her head, I would still be thinking we're going to find her in an hour.
Yeah, because that was the first thing when someone's missing in the middle of the night. Do they have the first question you thought of? Did she have
Sure.
dementia? Did she walk out? Because we see all
Mhm,
these,
of
we
course.
see all these silver alerts all the time.
Right.
But it came very clear very quickly that that was not the case here. That they wanted to make sure people didn't think
Yep.
that. So you, Carrie, said, what if she fell and wandered into or around her land? Concussion.
The dogs would have found her.
Yeah, and
And
it
the
is
blood
not
wouldn't
that
stop.
remote. I mean, it wouldn't take a lot of searching to rule out that she was on the
Oh,
property.
it's wide open. You can see.
Yeah.
Thank you for that question.
What about you know, I know she did a posting of playing mahjong. So she's got that circle of friends. It's almost a cliche, you know, an older person. They go to church on Sunday. They bridge or mahjong. I mean, I'd be all over that whole group, right?
Sure. And I think everybody, as from what we can tell, from what they've told us, everybody has been cooperating and talking and sharing, especially her social circle. I don't think there's any doubt about it. They're the ones that started the whole thing.
Yeah, but here's the problem I have, and my husband always brings it up because you know Michael's seen a lot of things, and you know, just like you've seen. He said sometimes it's not the person. You know, well, she may have had help, she may have had a lawn person, she may have a pool person, she may have had somebody
Yep.
coming in. It's not necessarily them. It may be the person that came with them one day. It may
Right.
be a helper that they hired. It may be somebody that they borrowed the car, you know, or friends that they talked to. Oh, I'm taking care of this house, as you know, Savannah.
That's
you know,
right.
so it doesn't necessarily mean that person, but it could be their friend, and that's why I know my
Excellent.
husband's always very concerned, like who comes to our house. Always very concerned because he says it's not the person who comes to our house; it's their friend.
But you know, think about it. If I get a job and I go to your home and I see all the awards and the trophies and the pictures of all these famous people, you think I'm not going to tell all my friends when I get back to that 2-bit bar? I'm gonna be like, y'all ain't gonna believe this. You know, the floor was this kind of marble, the counter, this, they had all this with all these famous people. You don't know what fool is listening to you that now thinks, hey, I got a mark.
Jackpot.
She walks that dog every day at 7:00. I'm gonna be there at 6:45.
Right.
That's what
I'd
they
also
think.
like to know the history of, you know, like Uber or other delivery type services that she
Sure.
might need because she can't travel as well as she might like. And these days, they're all over. You know, DoorDash
All
will
over.
bring you anything.
And it's one thing if you're here like I am in a condominium, and I'm door dashing all the time, but I will not door dash in the country. I just won't, because
Right.
again it's the same issue. So I just won't do it. You know.
Yeah, but you're alerting people, hey, I'm here and I'm alone, or
Right.
just one other person. And you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. There's no question about that.
What does it tell you about her, 84, living alone? That's pretty bold, that kind of independence. How does that
Oh,
factor
Michael.
into I'm that's true.
Well, listen, I lost my father-in-law several years ago, and the house next door to Walt and I came available. And I asked my mother-in-law, don't you want to live next door? Me and Walt are right here. The kids are right here. My sisters are right here. She was like, absolutely not. That's her home. That's her garden. She has her own friends. She wants her stuff. And I completely not only understood it, I admired it. And she's 84. And she is right now at her house. And she's probably, even though it's getting a little dark, probably still gardening. But I think that's important.
Yeah.
I mean, your life, I mean, the quality of it, I say live on, honey.
Yeah, I
Well,
agree with you. When you
before
take
Linda
people out of
jumped
it-
in outrage, I was suggesting it because what does that tell you about the person and the personality?
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, I think from the little that I know of her, what other people have said in the last couple of days about her, she's vivacious, she's fun. Again, at 84, she still has a social life that gets her home at 10 o'clock on a Saturday night. That's pretty good.
Yeah, and you take people away from that, that's when they go downhill. Yeah, you know, right. And we see that. We've seen that happen with people. They get, the kids want to be, make sure you're okay. Well, by making sure you're okay and putting you in that assisted living, you just killed the person.
That's right.
And I say that, you know, it's everyone's different.
One of the videos is her showing that mahjong set that her husband got her in the 70s. So you're telling me from the 70s to now, 50 years, she has enjoyed that game.
Right.
That's what she was playing the night before this happened. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, and I agree, Peppermint Patty. There's 84 and then there's 84. I just think it's important in the context of investigating this. It's a factor. It's an issue, and you need to know what it means.
Yes, but it shouldn't be, because I guess they have to decide whether she's targeted because she's Savannah Guthrie's mother, she's targeted because she's old, she's targeted because she's live alone, she's targeted because she's rich. They have to decide what the motive is to get close to somebody, I would imagine, because everybody, no one in this day and age, what's their fearful thing? That we go to sleep at our house and somebody breaks into our house while we're sleeping.
Sure.
I mean, that's the
Well,
thing
y'all,
that people fear.
here's the bottom line. If somebody targeted Savannah and they wanted to get some type of revenge on something they believe she's done, you go in, you kill her, you leave. You've already won. They didn't do that. They took her. When they took her, they said nothing to nobody. So that, to me, is where this thing starts to not make a lot of sense if it's not somebody that she knows. Because they took her for what reason? If it's not money and it's not revenge, they don't have to take her to sexually assault her. I mean, none of this makes any sense to me. So I think we need more information. I think the sheriff needs to give us something to do, because this is everywhere. Everybody that is a fan of Savannah's, everybody that's a fan of the Today Show. I mean, she has got a base that most people would just wish for if they needed the public's help. And he's not utilizing those folks. He's not.
Now, 2 TV stations received notes, okay? So they, you get a note, you don't even know, did it come by email? Did it come by, somebody bought riding a horse, whatever, for DNA, or if it's by email, whatever. What are the ways you tracked out if you have 2 special, we don't even know if the ransom notes are the same.
Right.
How do you use those to see if they're real or not?
Well, the first thing you're going to want to do is, I think TMZ said theirs was emailed, but it looked like a ransom note. So I don't know if it was a photograph that was sent to them in an email with cut out letters. I don't know. But you want to know, is it extreme? Is it ridiculous? Like Michael was saying, I want a helicopter and a zebra and 14 people to deliver it without their shirts on. I mean, that's not a real thing. But if you're specific, and they claimed that in the letter it said what she was wearing and the damage that was done to the house. All right, I'm interested in that.
Yeah.
If that
easy enough to tell. Yeah, and easy enough to tell.
Yeah. But where they lost me is when they said in there was kind of and if you don't do something, kind of a threat. Well, you just put it out for the world and you haven't gotten law enforcement's okay to do it. You could have just got her killed if it's real. If the FBI is there and you're TMZ, you're telling me you don't know how to get in touch with the right person? You can't get somebody in that sheriff's department, and now we have 2? I would need to compare them immediately. Is the wording the same? Are they using the same threat? Did they give the same amount that they want in cash and Bitcoin? Are they saying the damage to the house and what she's wearing? Now I'm concerned. This, to me, is, if it's a hoax, it's getting a little too real sounding for me. If they're completely different, like y'all have both already said, I mean, there's crazy people out there that want to hurt people and disrupt everything and cause law enforcement more work. But I can't believe at this point that they're not already coming out saying, okay, y'all, here's the deal. It's like Zodiac. It was 1 newspaper, then it was 6. We're going to publish. We've got to try to find her. Well, again, that ain't happening. He said, see y'all Thursday. I mean,
Yeah, see you Thursday. I know.
Yeah.
So how does and are they doing this? The whole idea of you can tell where somebody sends it from, what the computer is, where the computer is. You have the cell towers. How does the whole idea of the electronic communication and electronic investigation come into this whole investigation?
Again, the FBI is some of the best at it, and they can utilize anybody they need to. I know they're doing that. They're already pulling cell phone data. They're trying to, triangulate, where did this person come from? Where did they go? They're going to work backwards again to try to find how they came in and how they, went out. With the computers, the same thing. Everybody's got an IP address, and there's all kind of things you can do to hide and all that. Everybody knows that. But there are plenty of people from Georgia Tech and other schools that can help you, and they're 17 years old. And those are the people they need in that room to say, y'all, they've claimed this, and they're saying it came through this app or this program, and they can help you do that. If they told you to send money and to send Bitcoin, they gave you some type of information. What account, what number, what country, give me something. Again, they have shared none of that.
Each of those tidbits that you mentioned, in my mind, is like, that's yet another way to prove it's a hoax. That's another way to prove that the letter's bogus, because there is no account that's active, or there is no real contact information. It's just, that's just,
yeah.
I'd be shocked.
And here's the deal. If this is a pro thing and they have figured this whole thing out, and they know Savannah Guthrie makes $8 million a year, how much can she actually get her hands on? It ain't 8 million, right? It's going to take a minute to get money. So if they've asked for $23 million, that's bogus. They're never going to get it, and they have to know that. But they have to be serious enough people to try to, say this amount of money in this way, delivered by this time, or this is going to happen. But we also, from what they said on TMZ, we don't know if they gave any proof of life, like the Lindbergh baby.
Right.
There was no proof of life after when they tried to contact the people. And that's one thing the grandfather said. He ain't paying it.
So what do you recommend, Sheryl? So we have
if
4
I
minutes.
knew
What do you
sheriff
recommend?
Personally, the first thing I would tell him to do is you've got to give the public something to do. If you've got a vehicle, if you've got a person of interest and they're just walking, that they have a certain gait or certain thing that they're wearing, give it to the public. You will be shocked at how brilliant they are and how willing to help they are.
What can we do? What can we do as podcasters, as streamers, and you as you are the most, as I said to people, the most incredible person to investigate, right? So tell Michael and I want to do something. What can we do?
Okay, I think what you're doing is the right thing by telling people. You're telling people, hey, make sure, don't spread fake stuff. Don't say things that you don't know are true. That's really important. So I think the other thing is to make sure that everybody is open to saying, hey, I'm going to let my newspaper know, or I'm going to, let my friends know, like share her picture, and not just the ones where she's made up really beautiful, but to say, hey, they could have given her some type of drug and put her out on the road somewhere. So if you see somebody walking and they're about 5'5", 150, look at her. She may not be homeless. She may be hurt. She may be drugged. Put the word out that, they had a good 9-hour head start, 11-hour head start. She could be a whole lot of places, y'all, especially now going into day 3. And I think keeping it out there, keeping her picture out there, keeping correct information out there is perfect. But also when you're given information like the Apple Watch, could they take that to a location they think she may be and see if her, pacemaker hits? That's damn good. And maybe the sheriff will hear that. Maybe one of his people will hear it. So I think what you're doing is so important just by talking. And all of us saying, what can we do? Because it may not be Nancy Guthrie next. And maybe somebody, nobody's ever heard of. But now we have a plan. We know things to do we didn't know before. And I will add the pacemaker to my kit. Anytime this happens, if I hear they got a pacemaker, I got an idea.
Right. Yep. And I think that's what scares people most, not just the fear for Nancy Guthrie or Savannah Guthrie, but hey, this could be our family. This could happen.
Amen.
And especially the more random this may be, and we don't know, the more fearful people are going to be.
But I will say, I want to end on something positive, because there's been a whole lot of, protest, and people are divided on that. And there's, so much between Democrat and Republican, and people are divided. People are divided about everything. Nobody's divided on this.
Yes.
Nobody. And I think that's a wonderful thing. Nobody's saying, well, I'm not going to help because I don't like the Today Show. Nobody's doing that. Everybody sees this is a wonderful mom who has devoted her life to faith and good service and good work, and nobody knows what happened, and they want to try to help find her. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah, it's great. That's the
All
one
right,
good thing.
Cheryl.
All right.
Cheryl,
Wow.
you're
Thank y'all so
fabulous.
much.
Always
I could listen
appreciate
to
it.
you
Hey,
for hours.
make sure you can start your car because I know you've had that light on.
Yeah,
Right.
let's- we'll wait. We'll wait. When we finish, we'll wait to make sure you're okay.
I'm good.
You're good.
All right.
Okay.
All right. I appreciate y'all.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Bye-bye. I'll mention again, as I mentioned last night, Savannah and I used to work together at Court TV. So, a few years ago, we're not exactly having lunch every day, but wonderful person. I don't know that anybody you talk to wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
So we are happy to try and keep
always
this on
posting
the front
pictures of-
page.
Always posting pictures of her mom, and also, Savannah just underwent that throat procedure because she couldn't talk. She's only allowed now to look, I think, it's 2 hours a day, and she was very public about it. And it just, that was tough and all. And this happens right on top of that. Oh, I just,
It's
the whole thing terrible.
It's a lot. So we touched on. Sheryl mentioned, the cell phone data and some of the electronic stuff. If we only knew somebody that really was, I don't know, maybe used to be FBI, does cell phone stuff.
Who's a friend of the channel? Who's a friend of the channel?
Friend of the channel. Michael Easter, we're going to have him on tomorrow night. Give you his take on what they should be doing, what they might be doing, what he hopes they're doing, what is effective. He says he's worked on, I reached out to him today, he's worked on a number of abduction type cases, so it should be fascinating. I'll tell you what, I hope that it's not needed. I'll put it that way, that it's resolved before tomorrow night. And,
resolved in a good way.
In a good way, obviously, in a good way.
Resolved in a bad way.
No, obviously. But he'll have some fascinating take on it, as he always does. So
and quite frankly, even whatever happens, what he tells us what should be done, if it wasn't done, that's a real problem, and
and it's hard. I know we're asking, as we do with Sheryl, and she was hesitant as well. We're sort of asking for a critique of a brother, law enforcement types. Just like we're hesitant to criticize attorneys. We do when we think it's a learning moment, but it's the same way. So we don't ask for, FBI to bag on FBI, but their insights, lead you to whatever conclusions you may have. And his are some of the best. So Michael Easter tomorrow night.
Yeah, and because of this, just so you know, we had planned on doing Farwell and his motion to dismiss, but we're moving that each day.
We're kicking that.
We're kicking that down. That probably won't be now until at least Thursday, and maybe even further.
We'll see how it goes. But that's not on the calendar. It's very interesting, and we definitely want to get into it. We haven't forgotten that case, believe me.
Yeah.
Oh, and that reminds me that the standout for Sandra Birchmore, which was going to be last weekend because of the weird weather, they pushed it to this Saturday.
Yeah.
So it is happening still.
So
all right then.
It will be coming, and we were also going to do something on Louis Mangione, but this is far more important at this point.
Yep. All right then. We'll keep an eye on this and hope for good things. Thoughts and prayers to Savannah and the family. Okay, everybody. Thank you for joining. We appreciate it.
Yes.
Bless you and
Thanks,
your family.
Mac. Thanks, Sheryl.
Yeah.
Great.
She is great. We'll see you next time. This is Justice Served TV. Please try to do the right thing.